Ryan here with Saddle Hunter. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over a new product released by Outonalimbmfg, the Sh2kar. Now, for most, this might not be somewhat of a new product, but it's a span and hybrid. So it's going to go into kind of a new concept for climbing, as well as some options here on how you can kind of work the setup to best fit your style of hunting. So with this two stick method, you obviously have the Sh2kar. I have my attachment method on here as well, and a Night Eyes gear tie on the back, and a 12-inch FXD that now is able to nest right there on the front of this kit. And this comes in at 4 pounds for the 2 sticks. Now the benefits are most 1 sticks on the market are at that 4 pound range, if not maybe plus or minus a few ounces. But to say I have the ability now to take 2 sticks, climb traditionally with an option to 1 stick move for my 3rd move, I can. From a functionality standpoint, I can set this first stick, get to 18 feet, set the second stick, get to 16 feet and hunt. Now, if I want to get higher, I still have the option to get higher, because then at that point is when you would make one final move to 1 stick, getting you at that about 24 feet is where I'll say. So with that said, I do have a roll pouch with me. I do have a setup here that I'm going to go over in just a bit as well. But this is a really nice option. So now it allows you the ability to not have to tether in to climb. You can just use your linesmans to get to that 16 feet before you tether in. So with this kit, the other benefit to it is how the stick nests off the front. So instead of stacking them off the back and increasing the footprint of the kit, it's off the front and still within the tolerances of the Monarch. So it's a very sleek, little slim profile here on the stick. And I've really enjoyed kind of working with Matt on kind of bringing this thing to life here. So kind of going into this, I'm going to take you to the tree in really quick here and show you how you would set this up as far as the 2 stick method or approach would be considered once you're at hunting height. So in this example, I'm at the ground level here, but we're going to pretend that I'm standing off of the top of my 2nd stick. So I'm going to set those down. And once you're at your hunting height, I'm using 32 feet of Canyon Elite rope here, 9mm, and this has a sewn spliced eye on it. This is actually the tag end of my climbing rappel rope. So I'm using it for my rappel and my tether. I'm just using the tag end that's not really being utilized as it stands right now for most guys that are 1 sticking. So I'm just going to clip into this. Actually, I'm going to clip into the opposite side because I think that might be a better value for you guys. So I'm going to clip in here and I'll lean back into the saddle. So now I have the ability to take line out. As you'll see here, it's coming out of the roll bag on the pouch here. So if I want to, it'll kind of keep pulling. I have it set up to do so. So I'm just going to say right here, this is kind of a good working spot for me. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take the G-hook and undo that, and it's going to roll out. Now here at the bottom is my kind of access to the rope that's in between my linesman and my tether. So once I get to setting my tether, I can unzip and pull out the tether portion of my kit. So, and this is also going to function as my bow hanger or gear hanger as well. So how I have this set up is on average I start out with about 3.5 feet here, and then again if I need more feet of rope, I'm pulling it from the setup. So as I go around the tree here, you'll see it's kind of wanting to pull. I don't have enough slack, so I'm just going to pop out a little bit more rope there, and we'll kind of get that set up. And then I have my Delta quick link here, and so I'll just screw that in. Now one thing you'll notice is that I do have a prusik here, and that is going to be what I just attach into with my bridge. So I'll take my bridge line, I'll pull that out, and find out right where I want my bridge to be. Tighten it up just a hair. And then now I have the opportunity to take the load out of my saddle from my linesman and into the tether. So I'm just going to take the duck Kong and pull that out so it puts load into the saddle. Okay, so now I'm at an opportunity where I can detach the linesman side of things, and now I'm utilizing the bag that I pulled my tether out of to put the tag end of my linesman in here. Okay, so a couple things before I do that. This is also kind of preparing me for when I go down the tree later. So this is on a sewn spliced eye. I'll eventually have to pull this through the Delta Quick Link. So I'm just removing the carabiner here, okay? This carabiner is no longer needed just yet until I grab my Madrock safeguard. If you would like, you know, you can find a spot for it wherever to hang something on your whatever. So, you know, if you want to put it here and hang your backpack in front of you or whatever, you can do that. And then I'm taking the other side of the Kong off as well, and we'll just remove that again. We don't want to restrict or impede the flow of the rope, you know, once you pull it through the Delta Quick Link, and those will both just go in this pouch here. Now, there's also two things in this pouch that I will need later after I get this figured out. And the final step is just to take your bow hanger, because I am utilizing this as my gear hanger as well. And then I have this kind of prusik here almost as a stopper knot to kind of keep tension in the O-Plux or the Quick Link. So now I can kind of pop in my rope. I can put my bow hanger wherever I want. And now I'm just trying to get this as tight as possible, and then I'll lean into the system. So now I can hang my bow here, my rope is here, and I can, you know, roll this up if I want and then hunt. Okay, so that's kind of the kit to kind of get started here. You know, obviously if you're going to make an additional move, you would just take your tether and set it up as high as you can, reach down and grab the Sh2kar and then advance it, because it still has the Schaefer cam cleat on there, and then that really kind of wraps it up. So you have the ability to get to 16 feet minimum on the second move, or make an additional move to get another maybe 5 to 6 feet out of that setup. Now, when it comes time to rappel, and I do have a Madrock safeguard here with me, and I don't have the Madrock safeguard set up on the initial setup because I just like the prusik a little bit more to kind of get going. This is really only being used to rappel, so I'll bring it out when it needs to rappel. The other benefit to this is it's much quieter to kind of get started. There's a little bit more rattle in this, and on my setup, I'm more concerned on the setup of having less noise and not having to worry about anything kind of breaking up or ruining the hunt before it gets started. So once you get to a point where you're ready to climb down or descend and you need your Madrock safeguard, you're just going to pull that out, and then, you know, on the tag end here that's loose, you know, obviously you can just kind of put that in place so it's ready to go. And then from here, I'm taking the carabiner that I had off of my linesman and attaching that there, right? So you can kind of see where this is starting to kind of come into play. So now I can just kind of pull my slack out of my line and kind of get that down and then clip into the bridge here. And then now I can pull up on this and take load out of the prusik and detach the carabiner off of this side. Okay, so now this carabiner just comes out, and I'm here, and you'll see I've already dressed my tag end of my rope to not have the carabiners or anything on it, so I can take the G-hook, deploy all of my rope out, throw that on the ground, and away we go on the rappel down. So obviously you're going to want to attach your Dynaglider, your Doyle's gear hoist, your quick link, whatever. I can take my bow hanger back off and throw that back in my pouch, right? Like everything kind of lives in this kind of piece. So, you know, I'd say that the one last thing here on the rappel is, you know, just practice in the backyard, just to make sure you kind of get this thing kind of dialed in, and you know, off you go on the way down the tree. So the only real difference is for the setup is instead of detaching one stick, you're detaching 2 sticks. But you know, there's an extra step there. There's a couple little steps in between here to kind of either set up or break down. But the benefit is a really streamlined little solution that doesn't allow you to have to carry in a bunch of stuff, extra stuff. The setup is super quick. You're using the Tether as your gear hanger. There's a lot of things where you can just reduce, reuse, and kind of recycle the same stuff to kind of get the same thing or point across. So the one big thing that I like about this setup is, for this I have, you know, 32 feet. I think that's my sweet spot for rope length. But the one thing I think some guys might not really consider in their thought process is when you hunt with a linesman rope that, you know, is about 8 feet in length, and then you have a tether that's 8 feet in length, and then you have a gear hanger that's usually 8 feet in length. So you're at 24 feet in material that you are taking out with you, right? So I'm managing 32 feet of one piece of rope that does it all. So, you know, to think that this might be extra or the weight is too much, I challenge you to think outside the box here, because, you know, even though the weight, it might not be, you might think it's somewhat counterintuitive to take in this, you know, long rope just to repel or whatever, but you're taking in roughly the same amount of rope in and out with you on every hunt. I'm just breaking it down into one long section of rope instead of 3 individual pieces. So for me, it's a lot I have to not worry about. For me, my setup is really kind of cleaned up, and I don't have to bring in a backpack and carry in all of this stuff to be able to get to a point where I can hunt. You know, one of the challenging things is after you wake up early, get your coffee, use the bathroom, drive an hour to some public land, walk in another 45 minutes, another half hour to 40 minutes on setup. You know, there's a lot there that, you know, now you're waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning just to get to hunt. And I love my sleep. I love the ability to, you know, refine my process and do things and try to be a little bit more minimal in my approach. I'm not saying this is, you know, the end all be all to any solution, but this is another tool that you can use just to go out there, and maybe it's an early run and gun setup where you're, you know, hunting for 3 hours for the morning or evening. Perfect setup. Maybe you're going in somewhere blind. You're not sure if you need to get to 8 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet. This little kit's gonna get you pretty far. You're gonna have that option, or at least have that choice. And if you run into some trees where you got a lot of limbs and you're trying to figure that out, well, you still have the option to traditionally climb up to a healthy height. So I think there's a lot to this. I think there's a lot of benefits to this, and there's not a whole lot of one sticks out there, if any, that actually work with climbing sticks as well. So you lose that ability, I think mainly because a lot of people are just so siloed into one sticking, but there's some benefits to traditionally climbing up that you don't get out of a one stick when you're having to inchworm your way up the tree. So I hope this video helps you. I would highly consider subscribing. We have some additional new product reviews that are coming out, as well as some giveaways here before the start of the season. So good luck out there, everyone, and shoot straight.